tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope, and thank you for allowing us to come into your viewing environment. We are here live in the FijiWater.com sponsored studio every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, scheduling permitted, to address whatever topics you might like to discuss, whatever issues of life you find challenging or that you find difficult to navigate. You can discuss careers, finances, entrepreneurship. You can discuss your present, your future. You can discuss marriage, divorce, raising children, blending families. You can discuss dating and relationships. Whatever's in your heart and whatever's on your mind, God is concerned about that which concerns you. So we are here live in the FijiWater.com sponsored studio every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And as always, 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, is brought to you by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know that Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature? It is untouched by man. It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock. The water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the blue cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. This is Earth's finest water. And for those of you who continue giving on the Give segment of our app to support the broadcast at New Life Delaware, and those of you who have made a weekly or monthly commitment by giving on the contribution page of our website at NewLifeMinistriesInternational.com, we thank you for your support and for your commitment as we fulfill our commitment to God to be here for you to discuss whatever topics you might like to discuss, whatever issues of life, to address whatever issues of life you find challenging or that you find difficult to navigate. So I'm going to begin by announcing today that once again, because we were off the air yesterday, as I always indicate, we're here, scheduling permitted. We were off the air yesterday, but we are here in 3D today. You have the opportunity for the remainder of this month until June 29th, because on June 30th, we will select one listener or viewer to win a free nutritional counseling. To win free nutritional counseling from Rebecca Buva, licensed and registered dietitian and nutritionist, BeccaTheDietitian.com, who will give you your free nutrition counseling session the first week of the month of July. And then every month she will provide you with a free nutrition counseling session for the remainder of the year. And then we're going to invite you to come onto the broadcast the first week of January to discuss your enhanced health and wellness, the process that you experienced, and just talk with us about the benefits of having your own nutritionist for the half of the year. There will be some benefits, and we don't want you to miss out on those. So what you must do is every day listen to 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, for the keyword or phrase. And once you've heard it, email at newlifepastor@comcast.net or text the keyword or key phrase to 26 on the T-Mobile callers text line at 267-992-1424. We will select one listener and viewer on June 30th to become a client for the remainder of this year for free nutrition counseling with Rebecca Buva, licensed and registered dietitian and nutritionist, BeccaTheDietitian.com. I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you want your significant other to make the commitment to move in together. However, he says that he is not ready to move in at this time. So your speech to him has been, you two are in a relationship. You've been in a relationship for a few years now, and you want to move in together because you feel that you'll be saving money because right now you're supporting two lifestyles. So both of you are currently living in, one of you didn't say this in your communication, but God allowed me to see in that secret place of your life. And you did say that the two of you are living in separate households now. So one of you is living in a townhouse, the other one's living in an apartment. And you think that it's going to save money if you move in together because you've been in this relationship for several years, actually. So here's the problem. First of all, you started this out the wrong way. And the reason I say that is because we now know the right way to develop a relationship. I've been through this with all of our listeners and viewers. We know the right way. Okay, we've been doing it the wrong way, but we now know the right way. So when we know better, we do better. So you have to say to yourself, you started out the wrong way in this relationship because you started out in the way that the world has always taught people to have relationships. But now you want to compound the problem by moving in together. The truth of the matter is that he said very clearly that he's not ready to move in. What he's really saying to you is he's not ready yet to make that commitment. And you want him to make the commitment, so now you want to know how to get him to make that commitment. Well, that's the wrong commitment that you want him to make. What the commitment you want from him is, if the two of you are walking in agreement, you are doing this relationship, if you were doing this relationship the right way, then what you would say is, we should move to the next level by determining that we want to be united in holy matrimony. That should be your next step. The problem is that he's not ready, and he's telling you he's not ready. He's not ready to be married, and that's why he's not ready to move in. You want him to move in because your thought process is, if I can get him to move in, then the next step is matrimony. But the truth of the matter is, you're both gainfully employed, you have two incomes, and you're able to support your own lifestyle. So that's a plus. But if he's not ready, you don't want to marry someone that's not ready. You don't even want to live with someone who's not ready to make that type of commitment. So we have to think things through in their entirety, not just look for the quick fix of, you can save some money, you can live a little better quality of life, so you think, because you don't really know what it's like. You're in a relationship with someone, you both have your own place, so you're both living your own lives. You won't know what it's like living with someone until you are living under the same roof. You can see how they live in their apartment. You can see how you live in your townhouse. You can see how you both are living, but you won't know the experience of living together until there's one roof over both heads. He's not ready to make the commitment. You shouldn't want him to make the commitment until he's ready. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to compound the problem of having a relationship that there's no commitment. There has to be commitment. In a relationship, listen, no relationship is perfect, and every relationship is going to have its own dynamics. I don't care who you are. No relationship is perfect. You have to do everything that you can do to have a great quality of life. And so you have to recognize that you don't really want to be in a relationship. Let me rephrase that, because you're in this relationship and you're not going anywhere, and he's probably not either. until you require him to make a commitment that he's not prepared to make. That is where the problem comes in. Let me say this again. If he says he's not ready, he's not ready. He's not ready to move in. He's not ready for marriage. He's not ready for that type of commitment. And I go back to where I was going with this. No relationship is perfect. Every relationship has its own dynamics. But at the end of the day, the goal is to build the best quality of life in a relationship. And that does take a commitment. It may not look the way you want it to look, but if there's a commitment, it will at least allow you to have a better quality of life. Because sometimes we don't really know what we're looking for. In a relationship, we think we do, but then we get into the relationship, and if there's no commitment, no firm commitment, there's going to eventually be some long-term problems. So what I'm really saying to you is, if he says he's not ready, and you shouldn't be ready for him to move in or to propose. If he's not ready, he's genuinely not ready. What you want to do is, since you both are living your own separate lives, talk about how to build a better quality of life individually, so that when the day comes, or if the day comes, that you are prepared to move forward towards marriage, you can at least merge the two quality of lives together, because that's feasible. We can merge our lives together if we set our egos aside, because ego is just edging God out. If we put God in the midst of everything we do and decide we're going to move forward, then you can merge two quality of lives together, because every relationship, each party brings their own life experiences to the table. And hopefully their plan for their life. And then you just have to determine if you can merge the two plans together, or if you can merge the two quality of lives together. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most dependable 5G network. If you are not currently a T-Mobile customer, you may call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. We will place you into our queue so that you can become a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest and fastest and most dependable 5G provider at no extra charge. If taxes and fees will be included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill at T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most dependable 5G provider. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers, who indicated that you feel like you are being pulled in 100 different directions, and you are finding it difficult to be all things to all people in your life. Here's what you need to know. You are not all things to all people. You are not responsible for everything and anything that happens in the life of the people in your life. You're not responsible. If you're not someone who is creating drama, havoc, wreaking havoc, if you're not the person creating or disrupting the quality of their lives, you are not responsible for being everything to everyone. You're not responsible for being what they need. And I've said this often over the years, and I have to go back to this because this is real important. One of the problems that we have is that when we love the people in our lives, we tend to interfere with what God is doing in their lives. You know, they call us and present challenges, and we then find it necessary to respond to their challenges. And what I mean by that is that they call with problems, and the compassion that we have says, how can I assist you? How can I help you with your problems? The problem is we then become the intercessor. And not only do we become the intercessor, but then we become part of the problem. Because not only do we pray for them, but we let them stop right here. So what I mean by that is we stand in the gap. They never have to go to God. They never have to face God. They never have to face the Lord with what they've done to get to this place. So we have to really remove ourselves from the equation, offer prayer, and direct them to God, because He is the source. He's the source emotionally, financially. He is the source of all things. But what we tend to do is interfere, and we disrupt the development that God is doing in their lives. And so we have to recognize where God gives us an assignment. So let me walk all of our listeners and viewers through this a little further. None of us can be the source of all things to all the people in our lives. No matter how much you have, you cannot be the source of all things, because only God can be the source. And so when something occurs in their lives, God is developing them. And we have to get out of the way. They're going to come to us first, but we have to be willing to get out of God's way. We have to be willing to say, okay, here's where you are right now. Let's talk about the problem. Let's search, let's pray, and let's search for an answer, the solution to the problem. But then we need to talk about what occurred that brought you to this point and what the plan is moving forward so you don't end up there again. That's what's happening with people around you. People like the path of least resistance. They want to target the path of least resistance so that they don't ever have to face God. Now, again, I don't want anyone to misinterpret this, because I know there are people who find it difficult when I give these analogies because they think that I'm being cold-hearted. I've heard it all, but here's the reality. I've even had people call me cheap. Well, you're just being cheap. No, what I'm being is fiscally responsible. I'm being a good steward. I'm being prudent with what God has assigned to my life and what He's assigned me to disperse. So now let's look at the reality of that. The reality of that is that people don't often want to face God with what they've already done. But here's when you can be compassionate. I will never see anyone go hungry. If someone tells me they're suffering with hunger, that they don't have food for their household or to feed their family, I am never going to see you go hungry. If you're someone I love, I'll invite you into my home to break bread with me. Because if I'm eating, you're eating. But I'm not going to give you money to squander away on something else. Now, here's the other thing. If someone comes to me and says, I am suffering from a medical condition, I don't know what it's going to look like moving forward. They've already told me, my physicians told me that I'm not going to be able to work for the next 6 months because I have to go to treatment, then we have something to discuss. And we need to look at all the available resources out there to assist. And then whatever assistance I need to offer, I'm going to help you with that because it's a medical condition. I am not going to help someone go on vacation because they spent their money on vacation and now they can't pay their mortgage. That's irresponsible. If you've been off from work for 2 months because your company downsized 500 workers and you're one of my loved ones and you can't pay your mortgage, then we've got something to talk about. But if you decided you no longer wanted to work for this company, so you resigned from the company, not having another position to go to, God needs to do some development in you and I can't get in the way. I'm not going to pay your rent, pay your mortgage, pay your car note when you decided that you just didn't want to work there anymore. That's not a godly decision. Because the Bible says a man doesn't work, he doesn't eat. We just got to think differently. We got to think about things differently. And we got to recognize that if people are making those decisions, if we intervene, we're getting in God's way. Because if they're making those type of decisions, God is going to develop them in a different way. And we've got to get out of the way to allow God to do in him what needs to be done. Because there's something going on that needs to be done. And we cannot get in the way of what God is doing in someone else's life. This segment of the broadcast has been brought to you by Under Armour Golf, which now powers the Junior League, a national league for boys and girls ages 6 through 18 of all skill levels of golf. Under Armour Golf is advancing the game of golf for all children and giving all children the opportunity to learn, experience, and enjoy the game of golf. The game of golf allows children ages 6 through 18 to develop character, to develop cognitive skills, to network like they've never experienced before, to meet a different type of people who are thinking differently, people who are thinking about advancement, people who are achievers. And so we are thankful for the support of Under Armour Golf, which now powers the Junior League, a national league for boys and girls ages 6 through 18 of all skill levels, changing the game of golf. Under Armour Golf. UnderArmour.com/golf. I'm going to address another communication which came in from one of our listeners and viewers. However, before I do that, I'm going to share with you the key word for today is red. The color red is the key word for today. And now that you've heard the key word, you may email me at newlifepastor@comcast.net or text on the T-Mobile caller text line at 267-992-1424. The key word today is the color red. We will be selecting one listener or viewer on June 30th to receive free nutrition counseling from Rebecca Buva, licensed and registered dietitian and nutritionist, BeccaTheDietitian.com. Go to her website, take a look around. You will see all of the insurances that she accepts. You will see her blog. You will also see her media, which has every broadcast that she has done this year on 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. She will work with you throughout the remainder of the year. The first initial nutrition counseling session will be in the first week of July, and you will have one every month for the remainder of this year with Rebecca Buva, licensed and registered dietitian and nutritionist, BeccaTheDietitian.com. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you are lacking the commitment necessary to move your career forward, and you want to know how can you accomplish more in life when you do not have what it takes to make the commitment to move forward in your career. Pardon me, I want to say this. You have to recognize that you have everything you need. It's your decision making that has to be revised. You have to take a different approach to the decisions that you're making with regard to your professional career and with regard to making a commitment. So, it's important that we are committed to every aspect of our lives. We have to be committed to our personal lives. We have to be committed to our professional lives. Pardon me. We can never maximize those without making a commitment to the Lord. We have to recognize that unless we make a commitment to the Lord and to His word, to His instruction, unless we make that commitment first, we're not going to make a commitment to our personal lives that is going to lead to the better quality of life that we so richly desire. It's not going to lead to professional success if we're not making a commitment to the Lord. And the reason is because every commitment we make unto God, every commitment we make to the Lord leads to making a deeper commitment and a richer commitment in our personal lives and making a commitment in our professional lives to become the best version of ourselves that we can possibly become. We have to recognize how important it is to keep working diligently to achieve the fullness of God. We have to really work every day to maximize our success. We have to work every day to really maximize our success. We have to become the best version of ourselves that we can possibly become. You say you lack the commitment because you don't believe that you have what it takes to make the type of commitment that will lead to success. The truth of the matter is that you have what it takes. You just have been making decisions that don't lead to maximizing your professional career. So let's talk about that for a moment. Our last communication that was addressed, being pulled in so many different directions. So our last listener and viewer talked about being pulled in 100 different directions. You are not being pulled in 100 different directions, but you're putting too many things on your plate that don't allow you to achieve the success. You're making decisions to do things that are going to create distractions, that are not going to allow you to make the commitment to maximize your success. So one of the things you're going to have to do is make better decisions on what you're going to allow to be placed on your plate. I'm going to use an analogy for a moment. I'm not, and some of you have heard me say this on when we have our monthly contributor, Rebecca Buva, with us, licensed and registered dietitian and nutritionist. So I'm not a big vegetable guy. I don't want certain things. I don't want Brussels sprouts put on my plate. I don't want asparagus put on my plate, but I would prefer spinach and broccoli, because I like the taste of them and I know they're good for me. That's a decision. I don't have to make a decision to put something on my plate that's not useful or have something on my plate that's not useful for me. So you don't need to load up your plate with all the activities and additional responsibilities that you load up on your plate, thinking that it's going to allow you to be seen as something that people applaud. You have what it takes to be successful. You have to focus yourself on making a commitment to be successful. Today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast 3D has been brought to you by Fiji Water.